Well, I will just be online. Good morning, evening, as they say. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Global Grandmothers Council Network. This is a first because we're international. We're so grateful to be able to hold this forum and to provide this space. We are so grateful for all of you that have joined us and seen and heard the cry or the need or felt the urge to connect with us. As we move forward, we hope to see you, that's our plan, and to hear you globally and to make life a lot easier for the future. But before we do anything, it's my great privilege to introduce you all to Suzanne Lewis, who is joining us. She, of course, you may not all know this, but she is the founder of this space, this forum, the Global Grandmothers Council Network, which was established quite some years ago with many promptings from her spirit journey. Suzanne, thank you. Hi.
Well, namaste, dear ones.
No.
A prayer answered. Uh, there's a wonderful book called A Story Waiting to Pierce You, and it's about the return of the ghost dancers. It's return of the rainbow people. It's the return of we who are to recognize each other in an instant. And when two or more of us come together, we magnify our purpose 1,000 times over. And the Global Grandmothers Council Network, uh, since our solar eclipse initial meeting, is exploding. There's over 8,000 people. 1,000 people every 3 days are joining. And I have had the good fortune of being a grandmother since I was 34 years old. And a grandmother means someone who loves people and feeds them well. I've often been called the Earth Mother. And I, I need to not talk too long, but in 2018-19, I facilitated an event with Brooke Medicine Eagle, my great teacher and friend, and we called it the Wild Women of the West. I'm on an advocacy to normalize the feminine faces of God, and I am writing a book about the great heroines, many who are still alive. And simultaneously, I've been a great advocate of the original Indigenous 13 grandmothers, have followed them. I've been around them since 1998 before they were even forming. And so I carry grandmother medicine, and I have an urgency. I'm a visionary, and I was given a vision. Originally it was called the Eagle Hawk Vision. It's about mending post-traumatic stress disorder, brain injuries, depression. It's an integration of the Oriental five elements and the indigenous people's great will of life, this universal wisdom. So before I die, which could be sooner than later, I want to give it away. And because divine grace and what my dear son says is, we the people need these tools. So welcome. Is that enough of introduction of?
Beautiful, beautiful. Gives us an insight and a thorough aspect of the enormity of this journey. And that's what I think is important, because we will all have the opportunity to share our inspiration and how we got to be here on this forum, through this network. And that was, yes, you held space, you created the space with the beautiful roses from your garden and all of your intention. We see you, we feel you, and we honor you, and we thank you. And not only us, but on the other side through the veil and over the rainbow. So I see that. Um, thank you, Suzanne. Um, Similarly, I have had the great good fortune of connecting with my ancestral great grandmother, who came in dream and said we were to grab the world by the throat and shake it. This is an elegant woman who was married to a doctor who did, home and raised 7 children in Kati from Ireland. They went across and a big adventure. And yeah, in New Zealand, they arrived in New Zealand on the Carringsbrook Castle and reinvented life for themselves. So she has been coming through to me, and in a couple of dreams. I only needed to hear it once, and I was up and running. I felt this was my thing. I'm a grandmother, a single grandmother, and have raised 3 beautiful daughters. And it's a privilege to honor the future and to honor the past and to be sitting where I am. I would love to go through with you all at some point and discuss these aspects, as I'm sure Suzanne will have opportunity, and each and every one of us will have the opportunity to share with Grace these inherited visions or stories, experiences of how we got to be here at this given time. I've been inspired, I've been woken at night to reach out globally and, um, find Mayana. That's another story. Mayana, I will introduce you now, actually. That's a little prompt. She's making all this possible. We call it magic because we don't know how it works, but we can see you all. We can see you if your hands up and want to communicate. The Zoom has been set in place by Mayana, who is also a founder of another beautiful resource, which you all would have seen us mentioning and tagging, Heartist, with her beautiful beloved Andrash. So, Mayana, would you jump in? Have you got a minute to come in and say hi?
Yes, thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Suzanne, for all your years of labor to bring us to this moment. My heart is fully honored to be here in this place now and providing this facilitation. My, in fact, I lived in Boise, where Suzanne is from, but we didn't know each
Yeah,
other at the time.
yeah.
So, my work in the world is a multidimensional knowing of self. And as Suzanne mentioned, the need for healing of PTSD, my partner and I teach a breath practice that's scientifically proven to heal post traumatic stress. And I used it in my healing from fibromyalgia. And
Beautiful.
we have a nonprofit called Peace Production, and we call ourselves Heartists. So we have a website, heartist.us, that we've added the global grandmothers to. And we are Heartists in the Tinkdom of Everland. That's our mythological story that we're creating. And I go by Mama Tink. My name is Mayana, Mayana Kingery. And I'm in service to the greater good. I teach self healing, but mostly I'm a facilitator, and that's what I get the privilege to do here. I work on the ground in Patrick County, Virginia, USA, with our nonprofit work, and globally in actions like this and the Global Medicine Wheel. That's another Facebook group, and we did our first wave on March 22nd, World Water Day, with a focus of Mother and the Waters. And it was inviting people all over the world to choose their direction and make their stance for Earth and the waters. And then the second wave was on Earth Day on April 22nd. And my beloved and I we're on our hardest journey, where we went through the heart of Mother Earth. We went to Glastonbury, England on Earth Day, and we're at Chalice Well. And England represents the masculine heart, with Chalice Well being that feminine point within it, like the yin yang. And then we journeyed to Hungary, which represents the feminine heart, and a place called Dobogokur, which means heart beating stone, is that masculine point within the feminine heart. And so we're coming up to June 21st, which will be our third wave of this global medicine wheel. And we're looking for a tsunami this time. It's grown exponentially each wave. And this time it's about mother and the children. And so for my heart, having this group and this calling come out of the journey, and as a result of those two first waves, is a real life evidence of the shift that is taking place. And June 21st, the third wave, focusing on Earth and her children, it definitely, we're 7 generations. We're looking ahead. We have to come together to provide a world that our children can thrive in, because this is not it. The way the societies and our world structures have been, we all know that that's not it. So it's, how can we bridge what is now with what needs to be? And
Exactly.
we are that bridge that can make it happen, that can carry the children across.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful introduction. Very, very succinct, Mayana. Very lovely. Very all-encompassing and reassuring us of where you are coming from, and what is ahead with our little team here. Well, it's growing. I just wanted to reiterate that our vision, that we are stepping up and connecting, obviously globally, creating those changes that we absolutely need to see. It's excuse me, it's abhorrent to see all the pain and suffering. It's unnecessary. It's time to overthrow that system. Never worked. It's just time for us to bring our resonance forward as wise women, as elders, in disgust and outrage at what is happening, and to stand in that space and provide the shelter. As I think we had a post, Suzanne, I think you put it up the other day, be as the horses in the storm, make a circle around the young ones, turn your backs to the storm and stand together. That's a really strong vision. And we linking arms, linking hearts, linking spirit. There is nothing that can stop us. We've seen that, we've evidenced it. We've got so much support coming through, and we're only just starting. I mean, we haven't opened this up. I've been in this calling for just under a month, and it's just amazing what's going on. It's such an honor to be standing in this space. I grew up traveling the world as a child. My father was a journalist. I learned German, French, Spanish, and so we went to all the cultures, and he would introduce us to the different societies and cultures in Ethiopia, in Germany, and all across the world, South America, and also showing us how to pay respect and homage to the people. This was a man of great foresight. I realized that the other day. I'm like, well, Dad actually knew that we were going, the empire was pushing us to the outer. Well, Mayana and the American Indian, the cultural people of Hawaii more recently are finding their voice after the tragedy of diversity of the cultural differences and the loss of life and properties due to the fact that water was being diverted from its natural source. Lahaina means place of water. It was flourishing, but for capitalist reasons, it had to be rediverted. But we need to make sure that we are providing all the essential elements, as you said, Suzanne, for the environment to heal. And I'm sure if we keep going, and we will, as we keep going, we'll be able to enable this in the communities globally, on the ground, moving forward, linking arms. Thank you. Yeah. Let's throw it open, Mayana. Let's see who's joining us. Thank you all. Thank you all. I honor you. Thank you.
Yes, we'd love to hear from each of you that are joining us. And we may have people come in and go. That's open. So Vicky, would you like to introduce yourself? Vicky Kyan?
Sure.
Vicky.
Yay. Good morning. Morena, everybody.
Hi,
So
Vicky.
actually, hi. You can call me Vix, actually. I should change my name up there because this is the name that I go by when I'm in circle with people. Gosh, I don't really know where to start. All I know is that I'm answering a call in my heart to be here. And everything in my life that I have ever done has sort of informs me and the work that I've been doing, particularly over the last few years, which has been working in the realm of nature and forest therapy, guiding and training other guides, because I came across this practice about 9 years ago, after working with flower essences for a number of years and working in the healing traditions and being inspired by so many different practices and going on a health journey, which I'm still experiencing right now. So when I hear PTSD and fibromyalgia and those other things that you mentioned, I'm thinking like, hey, there's another reason why I'm here too. But when I came across this practice of forest bathing, when it was just birthing in the US back 9 years ago, I followed that call in my heart because I knew this was the way to healing our relationship with the planet. And I was invited to step forward. It was a massive step for me to do that, to become part of the training team, because I knew this was the way I could have greatest impact and bring my gifts fully present in the world. So that's been my path for the last 9 years. I've been traveling around the world training people. And it's been such a gift for me, just witnessing and walking alongside people as their eyes become open to the power and the beauty of diving into relationship with themselves, with each other, and with the more than human world fully. And through that work, I also stepped more fully into working with Circle and stepping into my own elderhood. That was another confronting moment where I thought, oh my gosh, I'm getting old. And I was invited to become an elder. And I thought, I'm not ready for this yet. I'm still young in my heart, you know. But when I stepped forward into that world, I just discovered and found so much wisdom and so much profound beauty. So as a result of that, I kind of became more involved with the eldering side of things in my local community and doing some online stuff too. So kind of that's my story. It's not as grand as many of yours, but it's my story. And I've had many health challenges, particularly in the last 3 years. Basically, my legs have been taken out from under me, and I've had to wind down and stop the work that I was doing because it was just becoming too difficult for me, for my brain, for my the challenges that I was facing with my health. And yet there's been this whole thing of like, I know my role here is to be a part of the dream and evolving, creating a new world, a new way to be, where we're living in relationship. We're healing those relationships that are so disconnected for all of us. And it's like, how can I do this when my life is spent mostly on the couch or in bed? And I feel like, hey, maybe this is part of that story. So thank you. Bless you. Thank you, all of you, for allowing me to be there, for putting out that call that my soul.
Yeah.
Deeply touched, Vic, so deeply touched. Every facet, a diamond has 52, a rose cut. We'll go back to roses because they're very, Suzanne has a beautiful rose garden with some beautiful roses, which are on her desk there today. A rose cut diamond has 52 facets. Every facet brings in the light and refraction. We are all part of that diamond. The diamond is the grandmother's knowledge. Okay, so everyone is as important as everyone else, and without that, we wouldn't be able to reflect. Or there's Suzanne with the roses. Yes, please.
Just earlier today, I was talking to one of my great teachers, a phenomenal woman who's in a tough chapter of her life where she's just experienced abuse as an elder. And she said, I just know there's more because nobody believes me. And so I was telling her about this possibility of our council group. And she said, what if around the clock there are volunteers to man a phone, feminine a phone, and talk, just like what Vicki was talking about. And so we who are limited in our physical range of movement, divine purpose to be able to talk. Thank you.
And I'd like to just say that with what Vic was saying about going into forest bathing, that I put a poll on the page with 12 spheres of influence and community, and asked what people felt was the most important, and nature came up as the most important. And I want us to think about it not just as Mother Nature, not just as going out into nature, but as to our own very nature, to come to know who we are as human beings and what is our nature, because it really is kind and loving and gentle. Human nature is. So, Bridget, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Brigitte Kupfer.
Hi, Bridget.
Can you hear me well? Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm German, but I live in Australia, and I lived in Melbourne, but recently moved further up to the country, Victoria. And look, I really can't tell you how I found you. Somehow on Facebook, the group turned up somehow. I'm here, and I have to tell you that by age, I'm a grandmother. I'm turning 67 this month on the 23rd. And but I have a grandchild. I have a son, one son who I had at 44. He's now turning 23 this year. And so my story, but I heard you all, and I feel so touched, and I really feeling so this energy right in my body, thinking, wow, I know I needed to be here. It's just really beautiful to be with you and hear your stories, and because I'm dedicating my life really to the return of the mother, to this understanding in all of us, in terms of this time, is really this return of the mother. And I moved to this little cottage, and this also by being guided to be
Yes.
with my partner, and my son is in Melbourne, but I call it Amargi, and Amargi is that, I don't know if you heard that word. Amargi is this old Sumerian word, and Moroccan young woman who lives in Canada told me, because I'm in international networks of circles, and we talked about the feminine, and she told me that word Amargi is an old Sumerian word for return of the mother, and at the same time the return to freedom. So my little place, I call it Amargi. So because as the dedication to my phase of life right now, where my son's adult, and so nearly 30 years ago, I had this total transformation from, say, my male or masculine power to being, I guess, summoned by the earth. That was by, what other people experience in a near-death experience. I experienced out of no crisis, and I call it my near-life experience. So I was really feeling, now looking back, I was then not having any idea, but I was, all these experiences of oneness and acceptance, and that was suddenly there. And I left my career, I left Germany, I left my PhD, I left my academic life, I left everything, and so then followed that inner guidance. And so I became a mother, and with that, all my feminist activism, all what I knew about the wrongness on the planet, and my systemic work, and made sense when I experienced it in the body, the power against that feminine wisdom and the trust. And so, so in this embodiment, I knew everything. And that's when I have a little Facebook page, or created conversations, intergenerational conversations, which is not active right now, but it is called Tending the Children's Fire. So I'm here. I know I'm at the right place. I'm not a grandmother, but I am a grandmother. Okay.
Well, Brigitte, thank you so much. It's so beautiful to have you here. It's an honor and a privilege, and we welcome you. To hear all these stories so far is further empowering for us all. It just confirms everything. The transition we've made, many of us, from ill health to consciousness of the need for us to realign with good health. I won't go into my story now because I just want to introduce you all and meet you all, and that's very important. And you've heard from me a little bit before. So, Mayana, who do we have that is coming?
Her name says Kelly Springer, but this is Butterfly, and Butterfly plays a harp, and she teaches dragon things. And I met Butterfly in Southern Oregon. We were both living in Southern Oregon. And when we started talking, we came to realize that we had both been working on the oil spill in the what
It was in the Gulf.
in the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, we recognized
the Gulf hemorrhage.
we recognized each other's work in that inner moment and in those other dimensions. And so I'm just so thrilled to have her here. So welcome, Butterfly.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Welcome, Butterfly. Hello.
Hi, Michelle.
Kelly.
Hello.
How are you?
And
welcome.
Vicky and Suzanne. Hi, lovelies. Oh, wow. Well, it's great to be here. Thank you, Mayana, for inviting me to join the circle. I see I joined the Facebook group that you invited me to, and the grandmothers are important to me for a lot of reasons. But I saw and met a lot of women from New Zealand that were part of my connection there, touching in and saying hello to me. I just ran into lots of beautiful goddesses that are from up here in Oregon with me, who are also, Asha and many others. So I was just like fascinated with how many of us know each other and we're meeting. It was so sweet. I felt like I was coming into a big honey pot, like a big mom bear getting like in the right cave. Like it's all my buddies, Oh, yum.
So when Mayana and I met, it was just immediate sister connection in so many ways. So wow. Let's see, what all do I want to tell you? There's a lot about me. I have I've been on a journey of I've been on a journey as a healer for 31 years. But it wasn't where I started or what I thought I was going to be doing with my life, but it's where my life path took me. I'm 62. I am a mother of 3. I am a grandmother with 2 by blood grandchildren, and I have 4 adopted grandchildren. That's 6 grandchildren. And I have a lot of adopted people in my life, with my students and my clients and my community here. I just moved back here. I left here for 4 years to go to Colorado, and I left to go take a minute to help my dad after I got a divorce. I've raised 2 husbands and about 22 chickens and some dogs and a couple of guppies. Anyway, so
yeah.
I moved back to Colorado 4 years ago to help care for my mom and dementia. And that was interesting. And right after I got there, COVID hit, and a fire swept through Southern Oregon, and my grandchildren lost their home. Fires started sweeping through Colorado, and there was like fires everywhere. I was like, oh my God, I was helping my sister evacuate from her mountain home, and my dad almost. It was a lot of stuff that went on during that time. And it was intense. And then my mother passed away from COVID, and I was her full-time caregiver and her nurse. And it was very intense experience. At the same time she was dying, my father was in the hospital fighting for his life. He's 84. They were 84 at the time. And my dad was in the ER in intensive care, struggling to live, and my mother was in the process of dying, and I was the person in the family holding that center of both, like the center of the wheel, I like to call it, coming and going. And I've had moments in my life, many of them, when that's happened. At times when I was pregnant with my 3rd son, I was helping a 5-year-old to die, a little boy, and it was an amazing dichotomy of life and death. And I found it in my journey as a healer and as a clan woman. I'm part Native American. I hold a medicine wheel. I take people in my primary gifts are focused on emotional integration and deep core healing work. I take people in to find their diamond. I call it diamond hunting. So we're going in to our inner spark and to reclaim our life.
Of course.
Yeah. So
lovely.
Yeah, and I'm a dragon teacher. So I had a prophetic journey with dragons that started 25 years ago, that tracked all the way back to the fall of Atlantis and came into an awakening of the guardians of the dragons on the earth, connected to the fall. And I had a task in working with interspecies negotiations with dragons from lower worlds, and it was huge. And I was working on that with the dragons and with my teams of angels and guides and helpers in this other dimensional experience. I had awakened when I was 4. I had a near-death experience when I was 3.5 after being raped. And I was told by my guides I did that on purpose to learn the map of wholeness and teach it to the world. So I'm working on a book, which is that whole map, and teaching that in classes. Even one this weekend, I'm teaching a free class called the Dragon Journey to Wholeness. And I just getting out with my voice for the first time at 60. I've been working one-on-one, very quiet, almost hidden. And
welcome.
Not hiding anymore.
I love it. We all love that. None of it. That's exactly right. Exactly. And as we were saying, finding the diamond, that and like a diamond, right? So we are all going to bring facets of light to this holistic experience. Thank you so much. And look at you, the courage and the pressure, and smiling radiantly and vibing out. Beautiful. Lovely to meet your energy, and lovely to meet you, Kelly Butterfly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think, is that Mayana, is there any other? Is it
That's
just
all.
the 6 of us at the
It's
moment?
just the 6 of us. Suzanne would like to speak. Yeah.
Great.
When I created the Facebook page, Grandmother's Global Wisdom Network, I was given a vision. And this vision, actually, it started when I was with the Shift Network in Birth to 2012 with Barbara Marx Hubbard. I had the same vision, and that's when I started connecting all the indigenous people's websites that I brought to this. But it was of a globe, and around the globe, those who are wisdom keepers, who are filled with authentic skills and gifts in medicine ways, will, like for myself, I'd be in Boise, Idaho, and a universal spiritual teacher, and then I would have the opportunity to share my expertise. Simultaneously, others of us around the world, maybe it's a dragon medicine, and the location will light up. And my vision right now for us is to create an ancient present crystal library, a source point that's safe, that we can get this global map, we can get the expertise, whether it's doing heart art or Tai Chi or medicine or trauma therapy or earth wisdom, and make it available. Make it available.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to insert that because I know that you two are holding the form and doing a lovely job. But I heard from you, Mayana, that you too had the same vision. And so I know that the technology is in your place, Peace Productions people, and that I'm hoping that in June that we do a global call. And what I'm offering up, because I was given this vision on how to dismantle, and it took me a while because I had a traumatic brain injury at the time when I received this vision.
Incredible.
I've made it into a book. It's been endorsed by the grandmothers, and I have a professional filmmaker who has filmed it, and an audio artist that has taped it. And it's like my last wish is to give this away to the people as a powerful tool. And there's a possibility that in June, in the solstice time, that might be part of our
sure.
establishing a form. And
sure.
One of Peace Productions board members, Heidi Little, is the founder of the International Children's Month, which is what this month is. She had developed an app that mapped people like you're talking about, and Unify has it. So I'm working on getting Unify to share their technology with us. We haven't got there yet.
Perfect.
We're hoping they will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to share something. Years ago, I had a vision of a download. It came when I was at this Sai Baba retreat. people who lived up here in Oregon at their healing center. And I was sitting on this rock and I got this download about a vision for a new school. And the vision for the new school was actually gathering teachings from alternative educational systems and programs around the world and making it a accessible library for educators to start bringing alternative educational intentions into any school system, whether it was public or whether it was private or regardless. And
You have to have the indigenous people have those same rights.
and everybody getting to be a part of contributing to it, including indigenous people and including people like the Dalai Lama has a peace school, and in India with Dom and Her and others, there's, yes, lots of people who could put in on that as a global family. But I saw it becoming so big that it would be continual, like it would be once it starts, and what you're talking about, having a library of knowledge based information for sourcing. When we create these global libraries, they can help us with reform in the ways in which we'd all like to see changes happening. And that can keep expanding and growing like the flower it's supposed to, right? Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Can I just jump in here? I think also what Suzanne and I have felt and want to take more importantly too is while we're still alive. I'm 70, so you know I've had serious health issues for the last 12 years. You know, I had arterial fibrillation 5 times. And I got through. I got through. I'm here. I had a blocked bowel. They opened me up. They thought it was appendix. I'm like, no, this is serious. There is something going on here. They opened me up all the way from my navel up and went in to see what was wrong. There was nothing wrong. My bowel had not ruptured. There was no issue. They came back, shamefaced surgeons, the top surgeon at Bendigo, apologetically saying, look, you just do what you need to do with your life. And that was post-op, but the immediate scenario after the operating theater was that I was put out into the department of deaths where they die. And my daughters, the nurse that admitted me, let my daughters come in. And we were going to go to Hawaii to visit their older sister. My firstborn lives in Hawaii with my grandson. And we were all going to go. And these girls came in and they had a little iPad. If I can share this with you for a moment, I think it's important here.
Sure.
By way of knowing who I am and what has been happening. So the girls came in with the iPad. My youngest grandson, who was 1.5 at the time, came on and said, wake up, Grandma, wake up. Now, I was gone. I didn't even have compression stockings on. They were farming me, letting the family know gently. But when I heard that little voice, it was like crystal clear, and it woke everything up within me. Every single cell heard the cry of this little boy. And I'm like, if I'm not here for him to teach him about life and nature and the beauty that is his to learn to know and grow and nurture as my little noble one, what is the point of me having children at all? And I just started to move, and my daughters, I was all wired up, you know, with the finger monitors everywhere and the beepers. And I stepped, as if to step up onto the floor. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where are my compression stockings? In Australia, sisters, if you don't have compression stockings, they're you know, that's, you're done. So the compression stockings, as we all know, yeah, push the blood back up and off we go. But I was exhausted after the 8-hour surgery. And so that, anyway, long story short, fortunately, I rallied and I came through. 3 months later, I've left my country house. I've left my husband, saying, I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry about this, but I just need to do me at the moment. I got a job offer, 3 job offers. I took the humble one, not the flashy one. I wanted to help out. I knew I wanted to help. I did a Reiki course. I became a Reiki master. I bought a car, a cheap car, and I found a flat. When I went to the temple, a friend of mine was there, and she said, yeah, I do have accommodation. Everything was set up. I thought, now I need to get some yoga, some spiritual, physical atonement here to line myself up and line my chakras. I'd never heard of Kundalini yoga. I went to the community center. There was a small sign. I contacted, long story short, I went to the yoga class. The second class, I spoke to the teacher. A woman came in. I said, I know you. She said, no, I don't know you. I said, okay, I feel I know you very well. Nope. Okay. So then I was speaking to the yoga instructor, the guru, and said, there are some things I can't do. I've just had my tummy cut open and, I'm not able to do all of this. And the woman that was there turned and said, excuse me, was that at Bendigo Hospital? And I said, yes. She said, I do remember you now. And I'm like, that's right. You're Jan. And she said, yes. And this was Jan, the nurse that had admitted me and let the girls come in with the laptop into the room.
Oh.
That woman had soulfully saved my life by letting my children into the hospital. If that love hadn't downloaded, as we say, right, butterfly, if that love hadn't downloaded on me, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be helping us all realign ourselves with our elements, with our role as women, with our children. And I'm of
Michele, you're freezing. You're freezing.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
Yeah. Yeah.
She wasn't freezing for me.
Oh, okay.
It might be her signal.
Yeah, I had that before when I was locking in. So I also connected with my ancestry and my Irish and did a mother, healing the mother wound, which I would highly recommend. And these are things that we can talk about moving forward. But thank you for letting me share how I got to be here and, some of the pain we go through as women. Yeah. Of course we do. Yeah. Of course we do. But that makes us, right? That's the muscle. Yeah. So love to you all and for all of the trials, every trial. Yeah, it's just a beautiful strengthening of who we are to become. Yeah.
And each one of us has an important story and maybe many stories. And with what Butterfly was talking about with the educational models, I've been an educational consultant for 30 years. And I restructured a little private school in Park City, Utah, a Montessori with a horse and ski program, and helped them take themselves to the next level 2 different times. And one thing that I've wanted to create, and I know that there is a process with the University of Utah, they've been getting indigenous stories. They've been gathering indigenous elder stories for years now. And I don't know if any of you know or remember the SRA reading lab. It was a reading comprehension tool that we had in school when I was in school in my elementary, junior high years. And you read a story on the front and you answer the questions on the back. And the stories in it were pretty progressive for the time in the 70s, but they were still, old world stories. And I want to have that kind of a model with the indigenous stories and the wisdom and the character development that comes with those indigenous stories. And, because I was able to find that program, Hooked on Phonics bought it. And so when I was then raising my children, I got hooked on phonics and the SRA reading lab came with it. And by the time they were in 5th grade, they had gone through 12th grade and could read and comprehend at a college level. At their own pace, they did it because they loved it. Yes, Suzanne?
One of my dear friends is Dr. Deb Glazer, and she was on the meeting. She's a tremendous educator, and her specialty has been, and what we have shared together, is the power of the word, and recognizing that the indigenous people's use of words is a square box in a round circle. And her expertise has been going to indigenous reservations and peoples from Canada on and approaching language. And so this is what I heard you say dovetails with what we've got going here. And also, you might not know it, Mayana, but there's a possibility of literally getting a chunk of ancient land on the confluence of the Banks River outside of Boise.
Oh.
There's a very wealthy person that wants to do good. And if we can figure out a not-for-profit, but we see this as the postage stamp location, that it has to be honoring of the indigenous people. It has to be an integrated confluence and a university site, even though people may never literally go to that place. So I wanted to bring you up on that one.
Wonderful.
Michael
Yeah.
Jones, do you know Michael Jones? He
Michael
knows you.
Jones. Oh, he does.
Yeah, Snake River Alliance and all that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. We'll talk later about that. Vicky, you have something to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to share something that I meant to say in my introduction. I forgot. So I'm also a grandmother of 3 children. I have an eldest daughter, I have a middle son, and then many years later, I had another daughter who is now a son, a transitioned child. My eldest girl has 3 little boys, and they all have Indigenous Maori fathers, different ones, and they are all going to full immersion Maori language te kura school. So that is their number one language. That is the stories they are learning in school, is the stories of their ancestors and what brought them here. And they're educating me. I'm learning alongside them. And it's a very beautiful journey. So I just wanted to share that.
Oh, and I just want to share that on just a second, Michelle, and I'll turn it over to you. I just want to share that in my vision of this reading lab, these indigenous stories, that we do have the original language next to the language the child is learning. So whether it's English or Spanish or German or whatever, our English language is definitely upside down. But to have the indigenous language they can learn and read both and understand both. You're muted, Michelle.
I had the privilege to work with Aboriginal art for 30 years. And in that time, I learned so much about the culture. Being as I grew up elsewhere and learned other cultures, it was such a privilege. And the demise of the language, the demise and the brutality that's happened here, the absorption or effort to have them absorb into a society that's on their land that has not been ceded, is something that's a very volatile point over here. It's quite painful to revisit. And then it's similar with the Maori, but the Maori, didn't they, Vix? The Maori were able to be strong and strengthened, and they stood their ground. But the point
they're
of
a
it
force to be reckoned with. They really are. Yeah. And they're still having their battles right now, but they are really, they're going about things in a good way. And they're so embracing and so welcoming. I don't have a drop of Maori blood in me, but I have a Maori heart without any doubt. And that's been recognized. And I
saw
feel
that.
like family. I feel like I'm
saw
there.
that in you. Yeah, it's amazing. Very powerful. And this, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think the way that they are growing within this country and taking their power is a real model for the rest of the world. to look at. It's not perfect, of course it's not, but there's a recognition among so many. I've witnessed that change. I've only lived here for the last 35, 40 years. I'm from England originally, but I've seen it just grow massively in that time, and that gives me so much encouragement and so much hope for a better.
Deep bow to you. So great, because you're from England. Now look at it. Your children have married in and are learning and teaching their children the indigenous cultures. You are a teacher and a healer, Vix. And we have in Australia had over 300 languages. We have 200 now. We haven't even been acknowledged. There's lots of work for healing, and for putting the books and literature into language is a crucial key. I have a friend who worked 40 years in the field, administering finances and making sure that the finances that were allocated went to the children and to the families and obviously to the education. A lot of the time it didn't, it was corrupt. And I've asked that person to write a book and share his knowledge and have these others become accountable for the situation. We're living in shanty towns, you would not believe. But we need to heal that. That's a big gashing gate wound. And a wonderful culture. This is the purest. We have no respect. 60,000, and we actually I talked to my friend yesterday, and they've said even older. 60,000 years of true maps. This is the map of the Seven Sisters behind me. This story has been drawn in the sand on the desert with ash from the fire to differentiate the colors. The maps also, the landscapes were hewn and drawn on the sand. And so they were told for all those thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And yet we get into the curve. Yeah.
Yeah, Bridget.
Yeah. Bridget.
Yeah. Thank you. I just, especially when I heard Suzanne talking, look, I know that we are in this planetary movement because I'm, that little girl from a town or city in northern Bavaria, having no clue. I'm guided to come to this place, Australia. I had planned to live in San Francisco, had organized that, leaving Germany and going there. And all these little circumstances, I followed the thread and come to Australia, and I meet my partner, and I become a mother 5 years later. And and I call Germany my fatherland and Australia my motherland. And there is really this call for the earth, from the earth. And I had vision. I have to tell you right now, because from our left brain academic understanding, there is no making sense of this. And but from this really holistic understanding how we are connected and how we are guided, and I don't know who said it in the beginning, that we are these wisdom keepers or somehow. And I vision, I was at the Shift Network in 2011 at a Global Changemakers retreat, and Barbara McCubbert was there too, and a lot of other people sort of with names. And I had this vision. It was in the holotropic breath work with Stan Groff. We did that there. And this was, I was kind of marching to a music, and it was always the music of a different culture. And I gathered a tribe. I gathered people, more and more people, and brought them to around, and in that vision, sort of walking around the globe, and then coming to that gate where these people, this tribe, had to go, and it was for them to go through this gate and not for me. I had to keep going, and I kept going and gathered more people and around the globe to their gate. I didn't know what I was doing. It was just appearing that, okay, that was their gate. They had to go, and I had to march on. And it was a few times until I ended around the globe up at Uluru, in Australia. And that was where I then stayed. And I found myself suddenly on top of Uluru, like a very big, long figure, like along the mountain, being held up with all the Aboriginal people under me holding me up. And then I got sort of this fear, oh, I'm getting here sacrificed to the gods. What is happening, or what is that? And then sort of realizing, and I said, I can't do it. I have my partner and my son at home. I can't do this thing. And then in the same moment, my partner and my son appeared as their faces as the wind. From children books, you probably know sort of the of wind blowing. So their face like a wind face, blowing and saying, "We're here. You can do this." It was amazing, and I realized I'm here. I am the bridge between heaven and earth. So it was like I'm here, the bridge between heaven and earth. So this happened, to me. That's why I know there is so much more going on. Where we called into without having to have this intellectual knowledge about. And that's why I'm here with you.
Oh, wow. That's an answer to my prayer and my heart's prayer, and a deep personal heart prayer. I mean, beautiful alignment here. And you're in Victoria. We're neighbors. We live near.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Look at this. Look at this networking. This is Aboriginal. Thank you.
I want to share that I was raised in a fundamentalist Christian home, and I had a lot to break through. But when I was a child, I began having dreams of ascending with Jesus and with the angels and rising up, and I'd begin having these dreams, and then I'd rise up and I'd be in all this joy, and then I'm back on earth running around looking for my family. And every time I would have that same kind of dream, and I began to judge myself that I wasn't focused enough to keep going, that I would return it, like you were saying, Bridget, that no, I can't do this. I have a family. But what I've come to find out is that's the whole process, is you rise up and then you bring that frequency back and you bring it to your family. It's not about leaving the earth. It's not about leaving your body. It's about raising up to the place where we are unconditionally loving, where we are loving with grace everyone around us, and then bringing that to our world, to fully embody it. That's the key, is embodying that higher knowing.
Thank you. Can I say something?
Yes, please.
I'd like to share for a minute. I've been listening to all of you for a little while, and I like to do that, both out of respect, but also just to hold space for all of your stories. So thank you all for all that you're sharing and who you are, what you be, where you be. In my own deep experiences right now, one of the biggest things that I'm in touch with as what I call new earth leadership is that what Mayana just spoke with is so true, because a big percentage of what we are dealing with right now on the current earth, in addition to healing all the iniquities that we see in life, is this new creation wave of light that is here with the earth's ascension. The earth mother is going into her own ascension right now, and she's taking all of us with her, and we are not separate from her. We are partnered with her, and not just because we're women. This is true of all peoples, all animals, the water, the trees, everything we see on the earth. We're all going. And so we're in a vibrational time, and there's a lot of inner conflict with people about how to manage the bridges between the old and the new. And this is a really important time for elder grandmothers to be that. Our role is to be the wisdom that helps these young people who are like spiritually bypassing everything because they're like, well, I don't want to manifest the negative, so I don't want to talk about it, you know. But at the same time, we're going, well, but you know, you might want to look at that shit because it's what's holding you back, or it's what's hurting you, or it's what's keeping you from moving forward. But let me tell you a way. There's a way you can hold that in a container where it won't manifest, and you can be safe to process it and empty it. And then you can bring the joy that you attain from passing through that process to the other side, and you can bring that back into yourself. And every time any one of us heals, we anchor that light into the earth by being here. But there's a way to go into greater creative power with that as an intention. So the dragons were guiding me to teach with Divine Sophia, the mother as God, the mother from the Godhead, to teach with celestial dragons ascension courses that are doing exactly that, taking people into the ancient temples of the earth and journeying all the way to the edge of the universe. And then all of it is not about rising up to get off the planet. It's about rising up to remember yourself as God, that you are the light, that you are a creator, that you have incredible potential way beyond anything you ever imagined and more. And that when you can bring that understanding of your light back to the earth, you give the biggest gift. It's just like what Gandhi said to everyone: heal yourself if you want to heal the world. If you want to change the world, change you. So it's the absolute truth, and love is the greatest key. This is also for Indigenous people a very huge time on the earth for all Indigenous souls to wake up and unite in a greater global acknowledgement of the heart. The heart is our way. The heart is our tribe. And if we go into a global heart together as a humanity, we have a greater chance at reaching new levels of cooperation, new creation of how we want to build systems, new opportunities to be able to see, love, value, and appreciate the return of honor in being able to accept and love one another more, that crosses all all tribal barriers. Because the tribes themselves, the elders that I speak with, have all been saying, this is the time when the global tribe is going to be born. This is the time. This is it. If we hang on to the atrocities that have happened to every race, which you can pick every single race, I don't care what tribe you come from, what nation you're in, we've all been oppressed, and we've all had our own holocausts, and we've all had our massacres and our disasters. And in order to go into that greater level of healing and restoring the balance, the divine masculine and feminine that's waking up to bring everything into more harmony and within us. And as grandmothers, we oftentimes have done, especially those of us who are really doing inner work on ourselves. We have gotten to that place where I know, for instance, because I've worked with Mayana and her partner, I know they incorporate the masculine and feminine into their practice because they know you can't be lopsided. You can't be one-sided and be balanced. You can't. You have to bring it together. And we do have feminine mysteries and masculine mysteries that need to be honored as separate, but we also have a place where they need to come together and harmonize. And this time of learning how to heal the wounds that have happened to all of it is up in our faces right now. And there isn't a human being on the earth who isn't meeting their own shadow in this time. It is coming up with the most intensity. I lost one of my son-in-laws last week. He killed himself because he couldn't handle what he was dealing with. One of my adopted grandchildren's fathers killed himself. And it was in the wave of this huge surge of light coming into the earth. And it was when people were struggling to cope with the force of that light. That light coming up from the earth right now is kicking our tails, and it's going to continue to do that and is going to continue to accelerate. And we're at a time where we need healers in every house, not just on every corner, you know? So we're so needed by each other and for each other around the world, like no other time I have ever seen since I've been living. And, you know, I just see this as a miraculous moment because of how epic the opportunity and what we get to do when we truly do unify. And when we come together in unification, I've been told over and over again by all the light above us that we are going to begin to only manifest and only create the real new stuff we need on earth when we do that, when we get our hearts together. Because I need you and you need me. And it's together that we're going to make this world something greater. But we're not going to know, any of us, what the hell that is, or what it even looks like, or even what it's going to be until we come together and actually get the download together. And I was seeing this in my journey work, bringing women into these temples of light and men and letting them find stuff, but coming into the temples together as a group, not doing it one-on-one work, but doing it in groups.
Yeah.
What I'm learning by coming into those higher temples in groups, people in the group experience are beginning to manifest something because we're together that we
right.
had
That's
because
right.
we're all there together.
Yeah.
So there is something really powerful in what's calling us out and what's calling us to come together and meet each other. And how we're going to be able to take the moments that we do, like this rich moment right now, is really powerful with just who you all are with us together.
Yeah.
And in this moment, we get to decide as a collective, what are we going to do with this moment? Because we can sit and talk about our past with each other, but the truth of the matter is, I'd rather be sitting here talking to you all about our current light and our manifestation power together as big, amazing hearts. And for me, I want to see us come into the heart together for a moment in quiet and feel what gets shown to us and share about that, because we might actually all get to see something right now that we need to see right now. And I'm really, my hair is standing up on my whole body. Are you hearing me? So it's like, let's have a moment.
Let's do it. Yeah.
And,
because crystals grow, clarity grows, you know. It's going to be so.
You guys talk about being elders and you only have so much time. You're in the last quarter of your lifetime. Don't fucking
crack it. That's right. Let's do it. Let's do
that. Let's take a deep breath together and bring ourselves into the heart.
Yeah.
And then
Thank you.
As we come out, let's each of us, everybody mute yourself. And then as we come out, we will one at a time unmute in an organic way, and everyone else stay muted, like with the talking stick. So here we go. Mute up. Could we make tones together with all of us unmuted as we come out of this before we share?
No.
As we return to share. I'm going to mute myself and I'm just going to allow whoever feels the first.
I just saw I first saw the white diamond heart of Gaia, her higher self, which is the inner white city. It's the white temple of light in the inner earth. I saw this huge white mountain behind the white temple. It's the first thing I saw. And I felt like it was plugging into the southern hemisphere connection I had when I went on my journey to New Zealand. And then I felt it going into the northern hemisphere. And I saw this big, like, double helix, like DNA winding through it. It was really visual. It was so beautiful. But it was really like this white light, crystalline healing energy of purity and love just plugging in, that I feel like we were just singing into the earth and bringing into being. It was really powerful. And it felt like a huge wave of love and healing energy going everywhere. Hmm. Then the songs came and I couldn't stop singing. I was singing almost the whole time after that. It just felt like one song after another. And I was singing, you started singing too, and then I think we were all probably doing our songs, but I feel like our songs started to be the other level of communication happening, which for me is both earth and galactic. So it was very expansive at that moment. And I didn't get any other specific insight yet, but I'll hold tight while you can share and see if anything else comes. That's from me. Thank you.
To me, simple words, no vision, because I guess this is an unfamiliar, and I'm just coming out of being, you can hear it, I've been coughing, sorry. But I just got that the resonance of being, which is what I think we're doing, manifesting. Exactly, that is our intention, to be resonant, the resonance of being. That is seeing. That enables the seeing of the heart, the crystal heart, that Carl Jung alluded to, that we've been talking and looking for. Those shards of light, those crystals grow. We know that. Rupert Sheldrake delivered a brilliant talk on that, and he's got all the science, and it's factual. So, and he's overthrowing the school of sciences and questioning their integrity. Very interesting articles, very interesting free-form thinker and manifester of global consciousness. And as we grow, crystal clear thoughts do fast. Light travels the fastest form. It just ignites the room. As Kelly, as you were saying, it just, we bring that back from wherever, whatever that intention, and it'll just ignite. We'll be lit. We'll be igniting the globe with consciousness, awareness, and that is in the elements of all of who we are, and embracing everything that is. And that is the dream that we will be implementing the manifestation for. And it's a cellular thing. It's a healing thing. And we know that too. So, but yes, so what was it? The resonance of being is the seeing of that. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. It was a very inspired moment. Thank you, Kelly. I loved it.
Bridget or Vicky, do you have something to share?
Yeah, I just feel like, Kelly, thank you for bringing that call in, because I feel that's exactly what was needed and what we're here to do.
Yeah.
And I don't have visions. It's not really my thing. Occasionally they come in, but it's a rare thing. I'm a feeler. And I just felt this sense of the strength and the softness. And that's the power that we have in our grandmother energy. And I just wanted to introduce you here to my planet, Mother Earth.
Yes.
That I've been holding through this call. And I just felt like through that singing, that beautiful experience of us being together in that spirit of soft love, to hold this like this in my hands. Yeah, thank you.
Brigitte?
Yeah, thank you. I just felt like this moment, yeah, important that we come to the embodiment, that we come connecting with our earthness, being the earth, and how we, yeah, just here to serve this process, what the earth is going through. We are part of this, and that's what I felt connected with this thought or feeling or experience of being the earth together. And I actually put in the chat when we talked before about working together a poem which I read yesterday to someone. We came up, and it's David White. It's called Working Together. And I put it in the chat if you're interested to look.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. Working together, David White. I'll read it.
So
Mayana.
Thank you, Butterfly, for that call, because I was feeling that same call. So we were in the same place with that call into silence, and I appreciate that. And I felt my heart, as our whole work is being hardest. So I've been really dedicated to living from my heart, and that is so vital. We are the ones we've been waiting for, but we're not going to wait anymore, and we have to come together. And that's the key, that gatherings. I felt that flowing out through my heart, kind of like petals of a flower fluttering out. And I saw the global medicine wheel be, as we each in our hearts allow that global medicine wheel coming up on the 20th and 21st, that the earth can flutter out through us, that we're in this transition time. And as grandmothers and mothers, we know what transition means, and how it takes every bit of our attention, our physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, everything that we are and ever have been when we're in transition for birth is called to be present. And that this is what Earth is going through. She is going through transition, birthing a new world. And if we can each hold as an acupuncture point, it relieves her trauma and lets her release in that fluttering, flowing way, and removes the blockages. We're each that bridge, that bridge between heaven and earth, between the old and the new. We are them.
We are the pillars, as we like to call ourselves here. I circled up with a group of women who are now praying because the indigenous people don't want to bring back their own ceremony for the salmon people anymore. Grandma Aggie died and they let it go, and they don't want to. And but they've given permission to a group of us women who are water women. They've given us permission to bring the ceremony back, and we're not their tribe.
That is beautiful.
But the light of, the salmon people called me back to the West Coast. And the first person I met was one of the women who's part of this circle. And I just come into town, all my stuff was in my car. And, the first person I ran into was this woman going, "Hey, Kelly, we got to bring back the salmon ceremony." I said, "Yeah, I know. That's why I'm back in Oregon." She was like,
action.
So we like totally like instinctively, resonantly found each other in the professional.
That growth of that crystal,
that inner temple I just saw. I want to share something with you all. Very few people know about the White Diamond Heart of Gaia. And when I started doing this deep work with Sophia and the dragons, it was one of the first places I was taken to where I got to actually meet the inner earth temple. And it's the heart temple of Gaia's higher consciousness. And we don't think about the earth having higher and lower consciousness, but as a being, she's capable of anything we're capable of. And when I researched it, I found that there are ancient um, writings about the White City in South America and in places around the world in indigenous writings, and that the White City was spoken of and known about. And that is this inner earth temple of light that is so amazing. And the guardians of that temple are ant people. They're really tall with antennas. They
From
look like
Antara. Antara. The ant people are from Antara.
so they're like really amazing. And they're beautiful. And so we've been just having this most amazing journeys going there. But I saw when we started singing that temple, when I was sitting in the energy of the void at first, when we first started meditating together and connecting, I didn't see anything. It was just kind of like empty for a moment. And then all of a sudden I started seeing this flash. Now we see, hear, and feel. All of us have sensing gifts that are different. And however you experience that for you is perfect. No judgment, no expectation. We're all okay to be ourselves and honor you, honor you and your gifts and your sensing. But for me, I'm very, very much both, all three, and I see a lot, and I have incredible visual gifts. And so when you all were really getting into the energy of resonating together, that temple went all right up in front of me, and I could see it within the center of all of us. So we're talking about the white diamond and the light, this origin of creation and the origin of light, the original spark is what is truly waking up within all of humanity, and the new earth is bringing it to a force. And that reckoning of us meeting it is what's up for us. And it's also our opportunity, our blessing, and we have to do the other work too, and love each other through it, and be there for our children and our communities as they get through it, to keep them alive, and hope our warriors and everybody don't check out on us as we move through this time of change. So I'm with you all in wanting to be stronger and connected and supported by each other. I want that, invite it, and I need you.
Yes, we
Need
do.
We all need each other. And I think, if we look at what's going on in society, these lost people because they're broken, because they had such a fatal disconnect, and they can't hear spirit because they're not focused. And we need to shine these lights, and everywhere we go, we radiate this being, this consciousness that we have, and we share that with that community, with those people that come into our lives. And as you said, Kelly, and as we all know, when we're in that place, the universe has no port, there's no limits, there's nothing other than the resonance of the truth of being that. And I think I just sort of feel that I had a post me just after we had that moment, nothing in the moment, the feeling and vision then of us all ascending as geese, as birds, flying up above and beyond and out, and then leaving our feathers behind. We don't need them anymore. We're free now. We have got this gift. We can leave those feathers for those that come through next, and we can stand naked, true and real, in our elemental glory of God that Source has gifted us internationally, whatever culture, whatever we are, but in our cellular, as a community, to move forward, step up in grace, harmony, and divinely gifted in this moment in time, as Kelly was saying. Aho, I see you all. This is my vision. I love you all so much. Mayana,
This is really,
Brigitte,
really beautiful,
Vic,
and we're coming
Vix.
to the end of our time, but we have a new entry that I just want to give voice to. It says Blade A30. Would you like to say who you are? And we're just coming to the end, but you're still here and welcome.
Hi, Blade.
Hello, Blade.
You're muted. You need to unmute yourself. We can't hear you. Blade.
Blade, we can't hear you because you're muted. Can you unmute your microphone? Then we can hear you. We couldn't hear what you were saying.
Can't see you. Oh.
There's a mute on the bottom left. Okay. Silence is good too. We see
Old
you.
Dave.
We honor you. Well,
Thank
this
you,
has been
Blade.
really joyous time. I want to bring us to
Huge.
forward motion, and that is our next event. We're planning for June 20 and 21 to be live streaming. And this is an opportunity for grandmother leaders to choose some time out of this period and say, I want to lead during this time frame. I want to lead, and I'm going to bring some of my people, some of my friends. We can have live musicians. We can have some film, like we'll play Suzanne's documentary, and there's a video of Rainbow Thunderheart. Blue Thunder is also his name, talking about the earth ceremonies that he led before he transitioned. And he was one who was all about bringing all tribes together. And as Andrash and I say, we're all indigenous. Yeah, Benny LeBou also, is another name he went by. And he was I met him in Boise doing work there. So I'm excited to hear about Suzanne's potential space there. That's exciting. I have some good, strong connections there and a daughter living in Boise. So that would be really lovely to be able to help
Thank you. Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So
we'll schedule that.
Yeah, so for the 21st, we'll just be in communication outside of this Zoom. And for anyone who watches and hears it and feels a call to participate, to reach out to me or to Michelle through the
Could we call this little network already that's established here the Zoomers, so that we know who we are and we recall and we have those names present when we wanted to? Would that be a possibility? And Brigitte, I would be honored to continue our conversation with the Australian work that we need to implement here as well. Throwing to you, Brigitte.
Love to continue the conversation with you.
Thank you so much. I'm excited. And Vix, same, because we are the Southern Hemisphere mothers. We are doing this thing, and my mother actually was born in Auckland, so we do have that. I have that with both places.
Well, and I just want to say that when I was in Boise doing the work on the Gulf of Mexico oil spill, Butterfly Kelly was in New Zealand doing the work on the oil spill. So this is interesting that these are the people in this call, and I don't know where you are, Blade, but we have Australia and Oregon and Idaho, this
New Zealand.
This little group here. So that's exciting. So thank you all for coming. This has been just really a joy. It's been an honor to facilitate, and we will continue and do it again and do it more.
Yes, thank you all, and thank you, Marianne, and thank you, Suzanne, for making this all, for seeding it. Blessings, beloveds. Keep going, shining, radiance. Love it to all.
Thank you, all of you. Yeah, bless you. This is important work.
Yeah. Bye.
Stay together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. It was an honor to meet all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your heart. We see you.
See you too. Blessings. Bye.